Hey, everybody, we're back at you with another Freaky Friday. Ashley, we just watched one of the most bizarre presidential debates I've ever seen. And I don't exactly know what to think about the whole thing other than how embarrassing.
Well, I had to think, like, are other countries watching this?
Oh, absolutely. Other countries were, well, the whole world's watching. The whole world was watching. That's on CNN, primetime CNN, presidential debate.
Wonder if Putin was watching it.
I I couldn't imagine why he wouldn't be.
Wonder what the subtitles sounded like.
Oh, well, Putin could speak English.
Oh.
So he could speak English. I know he can understand English. So, so watching the presidential debates, not even 10 minutes in, Joe Biden was falling asleep, it looked like. And former President Trump was doing nothing but talking about himself.
Yeah.
So you can't really get an accurate assessment on those two guys because Trump says a lot of shit and does some of the opposite things. And Biden, I think Biden just lies a lot. I didn't hear him doing anything but lying and blaming Trump
And counting.
and count. Yeah, he did a lot of counting.
Yeah. And Trump did a lot of saying totally.
I'm the only one in history. We had the biggest one in history.
Yeah.
We had the.
I think both of them said that a lot. Brought
well-
up historical things.
But you notice they both dodged questions as well. I do think Biden
Like
tried
just trying to get at one another. They dodged questions.
right. I think Biden tried at the very beginning to stick to the questions as they were being asked to him.
And then he
I think he
got
made it
mad.
like 1.5 questions in before he started like and fumbling on his words, and then, well, Trump did this,
Yeah.
and I just, how embarrassing. I don't understand the whole dog and pony show of this whole thing. Why can't they just go up there and stick to the damn issues instead of trying to stab one another in the back? Let your policy speak for you, you know?
I just liked watching their facial expressions when the other one was
Oh,
talking.
Jesus.
Because you could tell like Biden was getting really mad, and the more mad he got, the bigger the more his eyebrows raised up, and then
At one point, he was talking through his teeth at Trump
yeah,
about, I forget what he said. My son is not a loser, and
you're the
I can't remember what he said. It's just so
what do you say, you're
silly.
the stinker. Was it the stinker?
Sucker, and a loser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're the sucker.
You're the sucker.
And
It
it
was,
when they were talking about golf. Like I was like,
oh yeah.
come on.
I don't know. Now Trump is probably actually pretty good at golf, but Joe Biden, he's like, I'll play you, and like
He can barely walk.
he couldn't. The guy couldn't talk. He was reading his answers. All right. So they both knew the questions. They both had time to prepare their answers. Both of them did. That's not, not anything unusual. The moderators, give you a copy of the questions beforehand, I think. But Biden set it up that way. He had his, he wanted certain things in order to get the debate. And so they gave him all that. And so he was like, reading from cue cards, and he couldn't even do that right.
Half the time his eyes were closed.
I'm telling you, Sleepy Joe. And he was looking down, and every time Trump would say something bad about him, he just his grin, shitting grin from ear. What really bothered me though is they just couldn't stick to the issues.
Yeah.
Like I want to know I want to know their plan moving forward. I want to know what the hell they're going to do to fix this place, because Trump did say, the world is crashing down on us right now.
Yeah.
World War III's, a possibility right now. And he didn't say anything about how he was going to fix it.
Yeah.
Like he just said, I'm gonna fix it. He didn't say how.
Yeah. I mean, like they talked about the January 6th thing a lot. And then like their legal stuff on each side.
Oh,
like, why
Jesus.
does that matter at this point?
Yeah, I don't think it does at this point. I think you're right. I don't, I didn't see any point in even going at that or them talking about that even. I can say that what they did discuss on domestic policy. I didn't agree with that, where that whole conversation went. As they were talking about domestic policy, there it went into the blame game on both sides. When Trump was asked a question, he started blaming Biden, and when Biden was asked a question, he was blaming Trump. And I don't agree with that. I think domestic policies is where both of them struggle. You know, I think Trump's domestic policies, while he was in office, were pretty decent until COVID hit. And then they just went, you know, and then with Biden, I haven't agreed with much of his domestic policies. He did have that infrastructure bill that I was hoping was what we needed, but it seems like it was full of pork. And I don't think Biden's domestic policies have been very prevalent. Like I think he's been focusing too much on foreign policy.
Yeah.
And we need help here at home.
Yeah. Well, and especially when they talked about like the immigration and all that, like Biden was very confusing when talking about
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Like
he
he
didn't know
couldn't
what the hell he was-
understand. Like
yeah.
it almost for a minute sounded like he was talking like he was going with the way Trump felt about immigration for a second, because it's like he ran out of things to say about it,
Yeah.
and he was way up. Like they kept saying, like you have 82 seconds left.
Yeah.
Like so that's over a minute. Like he couldn't even fill his
Time, yeah.
time. So
Yeah, you have a minute left. I heard that a lot.
yeah,
And they had to cut Trump off a couple
Yeah.
times.
yeah,
Their foreign policy. There is a lot of foreign policy with Biden that I somewhat agree with, but it's very hard to agree with his foreign policies while we're suffering so bad here at home. Inflation's killing us.
Yeah.
You know, the price of gas, the price of groceries, that stuff is really hurting us. And the immigration, that was a big topic, but I don't think they hit where they needed to. I think it's a safety issue with the immigration right now. I think the open border, I think the crisis at the border is more of a safety issue at this point than it is a jobs issue, which is where Trump wanted to take it. I think it's more of a safety issue. Like like we're in troubled times right now, and we're concerned about terrorists coming across the border, and they're not being vetted as they're coming across the border. I think they're letting like 3,000 people in without checking them at the border every day, and they can claim asylum, and that's how many they allow in at the border. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me on that. That is I think.
yeah.
So
I don't know. I just think like not that I like really either like one or the other, but it seems like Biden just is too old to be president. Like his cognitive ability
Right.
is lacking.
Now, when you talk about age in that way, I don't think that's an accurate assessment of what's going on. I don't think it's his age. I just think he's like going through dementia, because Trump's not that much younger.
Yeah.
Trump's like 3 years younger. So it's less about age and more about cognitive function. We know lots of older folks in their 80s that are sharp as a tack. I know lots of folks that are older than Joe Biden, and they are getting around quite a bit better than Joe Biden. So I don't know if it's like Trump had touched on the the brain tests that they had, the
Yeah.
cognitive function tests. He touched on that a little bit, and I don't know if Trump's passed a cognitive function test or not. I really don't know. I don't know if he was telling the truth on that, but I know there's no way in hell Biden could pass one. Like, you remember of that prosecutor, that special prosecutor that was looking into Biden's issue with the paperwork, well, anyway, the special prosecutor that said Biden was unfit to stand trial. You remember that whole thing? Like, if he's unfit to stand trial to answer for his crimes or his indiscretions, what makes us think he's fit to stand president?
Yeah.
You know, for them to, that's like a slap in the damn face.
Joe Biden's not really the president like everybody else is telling him what to do and say.
Yeah, it's
Like-
not him. It's like Trump said a few days ago, you know, lights are on, but nobody's
Yeah.
home, you know.
Yeah.
But the Trump did say a few things on his foreign policies that I was kind of surprised with. I wasn't surprised on his foreign policy with Israel. He wants to cut Israel loose and let them do what they need to do. I agree with that. I agree with absolutely 100% on that. I think Joe Biden does too, but I think his administration feels different. I think his I like you think. I think his administration's pulling the strings. The lights are on, but nobody's home. And what Trump said that really did surprise me is that he would not accept Putin's terms in Ukraine as favorable if the lines were to freeze right now, and he would not capitulate to Russia. I was very surprised by that. But following the things that he said, like the things that he said following that, I kind of tend to agree with. I don't think if Trump was president, I don't think they would have invaded in the first place. And I didn't think about the pullout of Afghanistan being a catalyst for that. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And once Trump said it, you know,
You're like, oh,
yeah,
that
it makes sense. Yeah, it really does. Because if you think about like the October 7th attacks, they said Hamas was planning that for 2 years. What happened 2 years before October 7th? It was the pullout of Afghanistan. So logically, one could say they saw that and were like, okay, that's a green light, you know, and
Yeah.
Putin did the same,
Yeah.
you know, and I just, the whole thing was a mess. I think the pullout of Afghanistan alone is a reason not to have Biden as second term president. I think that pullout alone was enough to ruin his presidency that early into his
Well, like Trump said, that was
presidency.
like embarrassing. Like,
It was the worst thing to happen militarily. You know, it was just, not only was it embarrassing, but think of all the lives that were lost, and I mean, we left people over there.
yeah.
And it's devastating to hear the veterans that I know, the people that I know who are veterans. It's devastating to hear them ask me questions like, why? What was it for? What did we do that for? Why did I give so many years of my life? Why did I watch my buddies die? Why did we do this? Why did we even go over there at all? And I agree. It was, it's arguably worse than now than it was. And there's nothing we can do to stop it now. They've already got, you know, money. They've got weapons.
No, we
You
just
know.
left everything there.
Yeah. And even planes. They left some planes there. Not any of the fancy ones, but they did leave planes there. I think they even gave the Taliban some Black Hawks, which were, at that time, they were the best military helicopter of its kind. Of course, still got the Apache and stuff like that, but they weren't the workhorses that Black Hawks were. But yeah, I think I think it was really overall a terrible presidential debate as a presidential debate, but as a source of entertainment, like it was funny.
Yeah.
Like there was a few moments that Trump got me to laugh and smile.
Or we had to rewind and replay. Like,
yeah, I had to rewind and replay like 3 different times on something Joe Biden said because I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And
then Trump said,
yeah, I don't know what he said. I couldn't understand.
Yeah. There at the end.
That part was funny, and Trump had a few good one-liners in there, and of course Biden was just a shit show. When he first walked out, the guy looked like he was made of wood. It was the craziest damn thing I ever saw. But anyway, that was our evening. So it's been a long ass week so far. It's been really, really hot outside. We've been dealing with some hot weather. It was like 100 degrees on Monday. Oh boy, it was killer. It's rough for June.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually not like that until like towards the middle to end of July.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Wednesday I was out. Like I enjoyed the day on Wednesday. It was a nice day on Wednesday. And then I went out and mowed the lawn on Wednesday night. That wasn't Wednesday night. That was Tuesday
night.
Tuesday night. I went out and mowed the lawn, and boy, that was rough. I ended up dehydrating myself, and I had to take a couple days break to recuperate from that. It was rough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but the good news is like when I'm driving through the neighborhood and I see everybody else's yard, it's the same color. It's like
Dead.
Yellows, greens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little
So it's
burnt.
not just our yard.
A little
So,
burnt. Yeah, it's okay though. Things are starting to heat up a little bit with the podcast. I reached out and I joined a group for some friends and made some new friends, and I've got some guests that I've planned for the show. They're going to be remote guests, and hopefully I get some more people in here to the studio. I've got some studio stuff planned. I'm going to have Dan back in the studio again. We're going to plan out like a live podcast to do with Dan. It's going to be like a live Q&A, like a comedy kind of whatever.
Yeah.
We're just going to get together. We're going to have some drinks and have some laughs on a Friday night. We're going to do it live, and we're just going to shoot the breeze and see how many people shows up. And we're going to have you with us, and I'm going to have you moderating or something over here or whatever, just giving us questions or whatever. It would be fun.
Hey, yeah. That would
But,
be fun. Like I ask the questions.
Wouldn't that be, yeah.
Yeah.
You could just come up with some different questions. If we don't have anybody watching, just make something up. Like, but so how's your week been? I haven't really seen you much at all this week.
It's been hectic because at work I have a lot of stuff I have to get done because next week I'm taking off.
Woohoo!
And so
You're going to take a little break.
the whole week. Yeah.
We're not going to do much, but July 3rd is our anniversary, which is this upcoming week. Mm-hmm. And then the following day is July 4th, which is Independence Day. We don't have any real plans.
No.
It's our big 10th year anniversary, and I'm kind of sad because I'm broke and I can't do anything for our anniversary. And this is a big anniversary, the big 10 years. You know, we've been married 10 years this year. And we've been together for 18. You believe that? 18 years.
In August.
Yeah. Well, anyway, August is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Like, that's just right around the corner. Mm-hmm. You know, so 18 years in August we've been together. 10-year wedding anniversary. That's a big deal. It makes me sad that we've never been on a honeymoon. And we were supposed to have a vow renewal by now because we got married at the courthouse. And I said, we both said, oh, well, it's not that big a deal now.
Yeah.
We'll just have a vow renewal. And how do you feel about vow vow renewals.
I think they're dumb.
Yeah, me too. So
Like, I think it's a waste of time, money.
So what were we thinking when we planned that 10 years ago that we were going to have a vow renewal? What were we thinking? Because I thought things like that were dumb back then.
I mean, I just think that we were thinking like, I had never been married before when we got married. And we just went to the courthouse because they were like, hey, we need to hurry up and do this. You needed some insurance. And we were like,
don't tell the government our secrets.
What better day to get married than the day before the 4th of July?
That's what I thought. When they gave us the calendar of days we could get married, I was like, they said July 3rd. I was like, that's perfect. It'll make it easy to remember. One of my favorite holidays is
when people ask me
Independence
like,
Day.
why'd you get married July 3rd? I said, so my husband would remember the day we got married because it's before the 4th of July. So, yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know you told people that.
Yeah, I do.
But, we both have trouble remembering the year we got married sometimes.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it was 14.
Oh, I know it was 14. But you remember like a couple of years ago we had the debate. Like we were like, what year did we get married? It's like
Yeah. Well, then I had like how I remember is my brother and Cody got married the same year, and then Jessica and Sean got married the same year too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and so they always remember what year they got married. So it makes me feel a little bad sometimes.
So then I know when like Cody puts her post out of like, oh, we're celebrating, this. I'm like, oh yeah, it's our anniversary is this too. So yeah.
So I've probably already asked you this in our life, but not on the podcast. I may have even asked you on the podcast. I'm not sure. We did have a travel episode where we talked about the places we like to travel. But what would be your perfect honeymoon? And yes, we can consider this cheating because I might get ideas about, for later on. But what would be your perfect honeymoon? Now keep in mind, when I say honeymoon, no children allowed. Mm-hmm. It's just me and you. So what would be your perfect honeymoon? Where would you want to go?
The mountains.
Which ones? Hey, listen, I got a buddy in West Virginia I've been wanting to meet.
Yeah.
And he lives near some mountains. We'll go up, because he was telling me about these mountains, man. You can go up at the top of the mountains and stay in a rail car.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be for a honeymoon?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? We go sleep with the bears.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That would be amazing. I'm telling you what.
Yeah. I wouldn't care what mountains it was.
I'll get some pepperoni rolls. Oh.
Them. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Them look so good. I'm just sitting here making myself hungry.
Pepperoni rolls in a train car.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Could you picture it though? Like, I think that would be just a mighty fine, honeymoon for me. I think that would be not necessarily a dream honeymoon because it's continental U.S., but like if we were to go to like Alaska for a week, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just like out in the wilderness. Like even if we got to shit in buckets.
No, that's not my kind of honeymoon.
You're not in on that?
No. I need indoor plumbing.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, so we'll make a compromise. We'll have an outdoor shower and a bathtub.
Okay.
A soaking tub, and then we'll just have to shit in buckets.
I don't know.
That's how they do it up there. They wash in the spring water. It comes down. No, I'm kidding. I don't know how they do it in Alaska. I've never been there. But
I bet they have indoor plumbing.
I bet they probably do have indoor plumbing in some spots, but I think most of rural Alaska probably does not have indoor plumbing.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, they shit in buckets in the outhouse. It works for them. But yeah, I think Alaska'd be kind of neat. I also think like that European trip that we've been talking about. I think we could get that done in like 2 weeks. I think that'd be fun. Like if we had no kids, just think about what we could get done in Europe in 2 weeks. Think about what we could get done in the United States in 2 weeks with no kids.
Yeah.
And a couple train tickets.
I don't think I want to be gone for 2 weeks though.
No?
Without the kids.
No. Yeah, I've never been away from Rocket for longer than a couple days.
Yeah.
So that'd be rough. Now, see, that's what happens when we start talking about vacations. That's what happens when we start talking about honeymoons. Is we'll talk about like going on our own, and then we'll talk about these places that we'll go on our own. And the only reason that we don't go is because, well, I don't want to be away from the kids that long. Well, like neither one of us do. So how do we fix that?
Yeah.
We just take them with us.
Yeah.
Like, how do you go on a honeymoon with your kids though?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think, Sully, he's older, like he would be fine away from us. He'd be like, oh great, I get a vacation away from them, is what he would think.
Oh, sure. But if he'd be like, well, you can buy me plane tickets to this place and I'll just take so-and-so with me.
Yeah.
That might work out. We could send him to like Mall of America or Six Flags or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be kind of neat to take a little break and go on a trip alone with you for like we talked about going to Colorado this summer. But the plans didn't end up happening. They didn't come into fruition because none of my kids wanted to go. But anyway,
or you had kids that wanted to go that had like a champagne taste on a beer budget.
Oh yeah, I was willing to pay for the kids, right? I was not willing to pay for all the extra shit they wanted to do.
Yeah, like first class plane tickets.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I was like, I didn't even want to pay for the plane tickets. I would have paid for the gas to go out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had planned a trip to Colorado. We were going to do like an alone type thing for a few days in the mountains and ride a train around the mountains and spend a couple days without the kids and have somebody fly them out to Denver to us. We had that planned. It just fell through. And the biggest reason why it fell through was because as soon as one kid backed out, the other kid started planning all this stuff that they could do with their significant other that was like you said, a champagne taste on a beer budget. And it's not like none of the kids wanted to go. They did want to go. It's just like balancing time at work and being able to get the time off work and new jobs and new babies and stuff like that, So I do understand. It was just that was the biggest reason why I didn't push for the trip. I would have had it done and over with and scheduled and all that had we not had to. I didn't want to go after the kids didn't want to go, and it was because I planned a big old family trip and all this, that, and the other thing. I had a cabin. I had a cabin all picked out. It was like it was really massive and it's really nice. And I wanted to do that, but at the same time, I'm glad we didn't because, now we're having some difficulties in the financial department. We wouldn't be able to afford something like that.
No.
But we had planned something like that. That would be kind of neat to do, though. Like maybe go down to West Virginia for a couple days and hang out by ourselves, and then, fly back here, pick up the kids, and go somewhere.
Yeah.
That might be kind of cool. And I'm not sure that where we would want to go. There's all kinds of places I want to go, especially down in Florida, like Cape Canaveral. I got to go to Cape Canaveral. I have to go there. That's a must
Like,
Oh.
I want to go to Vegas. I want to go to gamble. I want to
Wouldn't
go
that-
to just see stuff.
Well, like we're talking the other day, like you were wanting to go out, possibly go out to Vegas by ourselves, but I don't think there's anything that we wouldn't do out there or that we couldn't do that we wouldn't do with kids
Yeah.
or wouldn't.
I think it's more just the environment out there that I wouldn't want to take the kids. Like there's a lot going on in
Yeah.
Las Vegas. So,
I just realized I'm wearing the wrong hat.
oh,
It's okay though. Is it yellow or salty?
no.
Anyway. So that's what's going on this week. Independence Day. We don't have any big plans for Independence Day. We don't really do anything for Independence Day. We like to watch fireworks. I'm not a big proponent of lighting my money up on fire.
Well, I used to love fireworks when I was a kid, and now, like, when I became a parent, I became scared of fireworks. Like, because then I just think of worst case scenario with, a bottle rocket.
Well, I think
and it's probably partly because I work, in my line of work. Like, I've seen some stuff and heard some stuff, and so, yeah, it makes me not really like fireworks.
You know what I think of when we're lighting off fireworks on Independence Day is there's another $1.
Yeah.
There's another $1.
Yeah.
Like that's what I really think of. Like I'm just lighting my money on fire at that point. I don't like doing that. If I had the money to kind of, it seems like this time of year I usually don't have any money to any extra money to spend on fireworks. Like,
well,
we spend $100 or so, and that goes a long way.
Well, and yeah, the boys really don't care about fireworks. Like Sully likes to do some, but he's not really.
I'm a big fireworks watcher.
He likes to do the nighttime ones, I think, more than anything.
Like when I think of fireworks, like I like watching the big displays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, explosives, like I love explosives. Like fucking play with dynamite shit like that all the time if I could.
Yeah,
Like,
Sully was talking to the one lady the other day about fireworks because she's like, "Do you have big plans for 4th of July?" And he's like, "I don't know. My dad loves Saturn missiles. Those are
Yeah.
my dad's favorite firework."
Absolutely, I do love Saturn missiles. That's true. It is my favorite.
Yeah,
They're so loud and obnoxious. They're great.
yeah,
It's like a perfect, allegory. Not allegory, but it's a perfect analog for loud and obnoxious Americans.
yeah.
1776, baby.
Pew!
Sky rockets in flight.
I think we're gonna make chili dogs.
Oh, hell yes. I love me some chili dogs. That's a good old American food right there. I think hot dogs are American.
I think that's what we're gonna do.
If they're not American, it's one of America's favorite foods, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
1776, baby. But
And tea. Maybe we'll have some tea with our.
anyway, yeah, some tea. I'm gonna have some coffee. I'm gonna have some coffee for sure. But we talked a little bit about Dan, didn't we? We're gonna do a live show,
Yeah.
and I'm really really thankful for Dan coming back and being on the show. I like that guy. He's got some really good positive vibes and really positive outlook on
Yeah.
life. And
It was
and
a really good show.
he's doing big things. I'm really proud of that guy.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about a lot of the things coming up on the podcast. I'm really excited about my guest coming up tomorrow. I hope everything works out okay and we're able to get this recorded because I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a while. We've been trying to make it happen for a couple weeks, and I'm got my fingers crossed, but I think it's going to work out. But if not, we've got a lot of stuff planned for the next couple weeks for the podcast. We got a couple exciting guests coming. I had to reschedule one of my interviews that I was really excited about. I don't want to go into it because I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood. I'm really excited about that one too. So let's give it a minute to breathe and see what happens. I'm in communication with everybody. That's a plus. So we got some exciting things coming up. As far as screen time goes, I'll give you an update on screen time. It's not going very well because it is hot outside, and for a few days at the beginning of the week is very dangerously hot. And we live in a small house, so finding things to do in the small house without a screen, it's not impossible, but there's only so many things that you can do and not get at each other, because I'm dealing with these kids all day long, every day, and sometimes it wears on me, and I've got a lot of work to do sometimes. So, sometimes I have to leave them to their own, ask them what they want to do, and that's sometimes screens.
I mean, at least Sully is picking up his bass and playing it
absolutely
every day.
absolutely
So without being told to do it, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's getting into that. He's playing his keyboard every day as well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of him for I was talking about him earlier today with somebody online. They had some questions and things that they were talking about musically, and I was like, I'm not saying my kid's a musical genius, because we all think our kids are geniuses or whatever, but he's got a really good ear for music. And I'm really excited for the places that he's going to go, whether he goes professional with his music career or if he does it just for a hobby. I'm really proud of him. It's one of those things that he really likes, and he's sticking with it. So,
well, and I keep telling him, like, if he's like, I really want to learn the bass line for this, and I was like,
learn it.
Okay, well, put it on YouTube and put it in your room, and then just try to hit those notes.
We can download that stuff for him and print it off.
But it's like, the guy that taught him how to play does. I mean, like, that's how he learned everything,
just
is by ear.
Yeah, but so Sully knows how to read music, and I want to actually keep that going, because if he can read music, he can make music, he can compose music, and he likes doing that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if that's one of those skills you lose over time. I would assume it is, because sometimes people forget how to read maps.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's something that I'll ever forget, because even on a GPS, I open it up and look at the damn map. So, I don't think that's one of those things that's ever going to, well, I think that could be one of those things you just forget, and he likes composing music, so I really want him to continue that.
Yeah.
So
your map thing just had me thinking. Today I was explaining to someone, they asked me where Cascones was in Kansas City, 'cause they're like, hey, I heard you say that you've ate at Cascones. Like, where exactly is that in Kansas City? And I said, well, there's two. There's one in Overland Park, and there's one in Kansas City. I said the one we ate at was in Kansas City off North Oak Traffic Way.
And we've been to both, though.
And they said, so when I'm on 29, like, and the get out, like, which way do I turn? And I was like, well, like, you got a phone, don't you? Like, just put the maps in, like, of course, this was an older person that was asking me, but I'm like, and everybody started laughing, because I'm like,
I don't know.
What do you want me to do? You want me to ask Jeeves or MapQuest it, or
hold on a minute? Hold on. Now, MapQuest, I believe, is absolutely still a thing.
Oh my gosh! I used to, anytime I was going anywhere when I was just started driving,
yeah.
I would print. Like, I remember the first time I drove to Columbia.
See, we had maps. We had maps my entire life. Like, I was reading out of maps when I was like 10. Like, anytime we were going anywhere, we were taking maps.
I thought it was so stupid. Like, now that I think about it, like, here I am. I was 18 driving to Columbia, Missouri for the first time by myself.
With a printed
and
screen.
And like, oh, let me get my MapQuest papers out. Flip up.
And which you could have done is just planned your route before you left.
Yeah.
And just, I take exit so and so.
Well, and one time I had somebody with me, and they were looking at me like,
"What are you doing?"
I was like, "Hand me my MapQuest papers."
Oh, that's so funny though. Like, it was printed GPS. It was like 2D GPS that's not online or anything. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
then I just
did use MapQuest if time, but I didn't print out the turn by turn. I printed out the map.
No, I printed out the turn by turn. And so like finally, like I just said, well, the address is blah, 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 Norfolk Traffic Way. And then they just looked at me and I was like, put it in your maps on your phone. Like it'll take you there. Just type in Cascones, like.
And see, even when I'm
this
on my
person's 40 years older than me.
I mean, even when I'm on my phone though, I zoom it out to look at the maps to like check my route before, like, because I'm like, well, this one says it's 10 minutes slower, but there's no tolls, and man, some of these toll roads like up in the north, like you get on them toll roads in New York is like $20 just to cross over like a mile.
Yeah, like we had some in Texas that were like $3.75.
Yeah,
and it didn't seem like you went very far for $3. But like when we were in Florida, like they were like 75 cents.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, Kansas is that way too. Like tolls to get across the whole state is like $2.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not too bad.
They have nice roads.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I-70 is actually pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's like it runs the whole length of Kansas, and it is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. That's a thing that I do. I zoom out on the maps, and I've always like, even when we take the GPS somewhere, like sometimes it still happens where I take a wrong turn because I get confused at the little picture.
Yeah, because it looks like the road's far away, but then you realize like, oh, there it went. Like I just passed it.
Right. But I usually, since I'm so used to looking at maps and reading maps, I always know the exit number, right or left lane, I always know that stuff ahead of time because I'm always looking and checking farther down the road.
Yeah.
And if I already know which exit I need to take when I get there, and it's just a GPS reminding me that I need to take the exit. Most of the time I just take the exit that I need to take, but sometimes the picture and the road gets confusing and I end up taking the wrong turn. But and that has happened like 3 times, 4 times, but it's not something I do very often. It's something I see you doing like a lot, especially when we're on vacation and you're in a new city.
Yeah.
Like you remember that one time we got stuck on the Cloverleaf like 5 times going around.
Yeah. You're like, what are you doing?
Or like, I don't know.
I took the wrong exit in St. Louis and it was nighttime and I ran a stoplight and I was scared because it was a sketchy part of St. I was like, we're in East St. Louis.
Now that's the time that was the time they had all that road construction up on I-70, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it was the Martin Luther King bridge or whatever. It was all under construction.
Yeah, it was where they had that I-70 was blocked off and you couldn't go. You had to go in through town.
And like I got off and I was like, oh. And then there was like a semi that almost hit me.
Yeah, it's all dark.
Yeah.
Like really dark.
We were like...
There's no street lights, no nothing.
They were like in the projects or something.
Oh, it was, And every other building was burnt out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was scary. Not really scary, but like... Yeah, it was scary. Yeah. But anyway, folks, we're gonna bring this episode to a close. I thank you for sticking with us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.